This creamy red snapper with this blackened cream sauce over rice is the ultimate comfort food with a twist. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made it because we don't do no gatekeeping over here. Now, first thing I did was go ahead and make my season blend. And for my season blend, I started off with a little bit of Italian seasoning. After the Italian seasoning, I went in and added some onion powder. In addition to the onion powder, I am going to go ahead and add some garlic powder because you know you can't have one without both. You got to have your onion powder and your garlic powder together. I feel like it's a combo. It just goes together. Now to make it blackened, we're going to add in some of that Tony's Creole seasoning. And out of all the Creole blackened seasonings I've ever tried, Tony's is my absolute favorite. I'm always going to use it, so I make sure I add some of that in there. Mix this up and make sure it looks just like this. Now for my snapper, I'm using some red snapper that I got from the supermarket, and I just went on ahead and cleaned it off with a little bit of cool water and some lemon juice. Once I got my snapper fillets clean, it was time to go ahead and season it, and I'm going to use that seasoning blend that I already created, and we're going to put it all over the snapper. We want to make sure you get it on the front part of the snapper. We're also going to make sure add a generous amount so that we can get it seasoned on both sides of the red snapper. So after I seasoned the top, I did add in another layer of seasoning. Now I'm not worried about my snapper being salty because majority of the seasoning is going to fall off. It's not going to stick to the fish, and we are going to make a sauce. I did go ahead and turn the snappers on the side and just try and get some of that seasoning off of the cutting board, and then I added a little bit more on top of it from the that was already made. Now I'm not going to use all of it because I do want to save some of it to the side for when the sauce is time to be made. I'm going to use that same blend in for the sauce. Now that I got the red snapper seasoned to my liking, it's time to start cooking. Got me a nonstick pan, added in just some butter because I didn't have any oil, so I'm going to be using butter instead. And I'm going to place the salmon skin down. I want to get that skin nice and crispy, and the secret to not ripping your skin or tearing your skin up is letting it cook, and it will release itself once it's ready. Once it's ready to release itself and be flipped, you should be able to flip it flawlessly just like that. After that, I did flip it, let the other side cook, and once the other side cooked, I went on again and flipped it over. Once that side was golden brown, just like this, it was time to go ahead and put the snapper to the side because now it's time to start working on the sauce. Now, while I am working on the sauce, I am going to steam some white rice because we're going to have some white rice with this. So we want to make sure we go ahead and start working on that because I like to multitask. Once I removed the snapper from the pan, I did go in and add my fresh garlic. Now, if you want to use garlic from the jar, you absolutely can. I just prefer to use the fresh garlic. I feel like it has a better taste to it. Added in some of those cherry tomatoes as well, and I let those cook down for a few minutes. Once they cooked down for a few minutes, went in with some of my heavy whipping cream. And in addition to that heavy whipping cream, go ahead and add you in a sprinkle or a handful of some shredded Parmesan cheese. If you don't have Parmesan cheese, you go ahead and use whatever cheese that you have on hand. In addition to that Parmesan cheese, added in the rest of that seasoning blend, and then I just went and let it cook and become one. Once it became one and everything became together, the cheese melted, the tomatoes cooked down, the garlic was ready, the seasoning blend was all mixed in together. The sauce looked just like this, absolutely perfect. I did go ahead and squeeze in a lemon as well because I just felt like it needed a little bit of acidity. And once the sauce was perfect to my liking, I went and added back in that snapper so that the snapper can absorb some of that sauce and get some of the flavor from the sauce. Once I got the snapper in there, got me a spoon and just poured some of the sauce right on top of the snapper because I want to make sure that I'm getting that sauce all over the snapper. I want all those flavors to come together. After my snapper was done, because it was already done, we're just making sure that it just absorbs some of the sauce, it was time to go ahead and make those plates. So started off with some of that white rice, and this is the rice that I had made. Now how I get my rice like this is I like to go in with a cup of rice, toast it a little bit, then add in another cup of rice, and then cook the rice. And then that's how you get it with the different colors. Just toast a little bit and then add the additional rice and cook it. Once the rice was added, I did try to go ahead and pat it down a little bit and make it fancy, because I don't have one of those little rice cups. I'm definitely going to get one though. I don't have one, so I did try and go ahead and use my spoon and just pat it down a little bit, make it a little fancy. Once I got my rice patted down and made a little shape, whatever shape this is, we gonna call it, it was time for me to add some of that red snapper right on top. So I got me a piece of the snapper, and this snapper was really thick, so one piece was just enough for me. You can see how thick that snapper is. Got the snapper on there, added in just a little more of that blackened lemon cream sauce that I made right on top of the red snapper. And when I tell you, this was chef's kiss. It came out absolutely perfect. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and steam you some veggies, add you some asparagus, some roasted green beans, a little bit of broccoli, whatever you prefer. But dinner is ready and it is time to go eat.